Welcome to a video from ThisLifestyle.com. This is volume 2 of the Fairlight Collection for the Korg Modwave, also available for the Wave State, but a separate video on that. So volume 1 looked at strings and vocals, volume 2 is guitar and basses. So we've got 48 performances here with basses and guitars, and there's also a couple of drum kits that are thrown in here as well. So to use this sample set, download the zip file, unzip it, and then you need to use your Korg Sample Builder to transfer it to your Modwave. I'll show you that later in the video. So let's listen to the sounds first. So you heard the sound at the beginning there, the distorted guitar. Incidentally, these are all samples from the Fairlight IIx, the 80s sampling machine, and which I've then tuned and looped, and in some cases looped, and brought them into the Modwave and created these performances for it. So a nice crunchy guitar there. There's a lot of interesting samples like that, and of course you think back to the 80s, the early 80s when the Fairlight first came out, tried to doing something like that on an analog synth, you couldn't do it. I have included a couple of drum kits, and this is a proper multi-sample. So what you've got on here is each note with this sort of general MIDI standard-ish, so you can hear the samples that I've loaded in there. So you can play those and put some effects on them and so on. This is a 12 string, so I've got a couple of 12 string. One I've created a 12 string by using two 6 string samples, which is this one. Now they're all quite short samples because of the limited sample time on the original Fairlight. This is another one, but this is actually a 12 string, and I've created two oscillators and just detuned them slightly. So it sounds quite synthetic, but which is something I quite like from these samples, because they're not just straight samples. You can get samples anywhere, but these are Fairlight samples. So we've got a number of basses in there, nice acoustic bass, and a couple of acoustic guitars. Incidentally, I'm doing all this on the Modwave Native. I'm controlling it from my Modwave. If the patch name is out of sync, that's because it's all through on the Native, and I keep forgetting to sync them up so the patch names are the same. So there you go. That looks better, but I'll probably forget again. So this is acoustic guitar too. And then we've got a bass selection. These are named after the samples. Bass 1. And I think these would sound really good if you have a tight sequence 80s style on them. More of a pick guitar type bass. A quite synthetic one. And then we've got a couple of bass GTs, which are bass guitars. Some of them are quite noisy like that, but I quite like that. Then one of the things that you heard at the beginning was the chorus guitar, which I really like. It's got a real 80s sound to it. Nice 80s style, and a classical sample. Again quite short, and a simple bass. Then we've got a couple of fall guitars, which are nice sort of samples. I quite like those. And then we've got a fuzz guitar. Now this one is looped. Most of them aren't, but this one is looped. There's nice power chords with that. Then some samples we've called GTR 1, 4 and 5. I've skipped 2 and 3 as I didn't like them. A sample power chord. Another sample power, which could be incorporated into a track really well, I think. And guitar 5. Nice bit of vibrato lead there. And then we've got some which samples are just called guitar 1, 2 and 3, and I think they're like an acoustic sound, but they sound quite synthetic to me. So that sounds like a synth, but yeah, that's what they're labelled. And this is guitar 2. Almost sounds a bit FM-y, that one. And then 3, which actually does sound a bit more guitar-like. It's a really short sample. Then we've got some which were called high and low, and this one incorporates both of them using Modwave. So low on one oscillator and a high on the other oscillator. So these are the separate ones, the high and the low. So I've played about the envelopes a bit to give that sort of slightly slower attack time. So there's your typical high guitar, and then 4. So nice chorus effect, I quite like that one. Then one I came across, which was a loop. Not in time with anything, so there you can see the loops. What I've done is I've re-triggered the loop using the arpeggiator, give it a bit of a kick drum on the arpeggiator as well, and you get that sort of effect. And if you stick to the G notes, you actually do get it stays in time. So it's quite a bit different. That sounded a bit Tangerine Dreamy when I was playing about with that. 3 low guitars. Which again, short sample, but when they're played lower, it sounds quite nice. So it's a bit more metallic. And a bit more high overtones. And then you've got a mute type sound on it as well. So we've got this with the mute guitar, which again I think would sound quite good sampled, sequenced, and another mute one there. So this one is a sweet one. This is playing with the filters on the oscillators. That's using the original samples, but then with a bit of oscillation on there. Then we've got a couple of pick basses. Then we've got a pick bass. and a pick pop, as that's what the sample was called. And this one, quite noisy and quite crunchy. So I think quite a useful sound. And then there's a sample of a strum. It's quite nice. And then we've got one called Stratx. I think it's Stratx. You can hear it kicks in and then cuts off at the end. And then we've got some basses. Again, a nice crunchy, dirty sound. A bit of a shorter one, but still quite crunchy. Another short one. And I've got one called Wailt Guitar. Not quite sure how you can incorporate that one in, but it's quite an interesting sample. And then the final one is a Zow Bass. And I've played a bit with the filter on this, so you can hear a bit of randomness on the filter there, because I've put a bit of LFO with sample and hold to bring that in. So to get those samples, what you need to do, you need to use the sample builder. So this is sample builder, and then there's two things you can do. You can, if you haven't got a bank already, you can open the bank, like that, and then do send to the Modwave. If you're using the virtual version, the VST version, you can do create save sample bank for plugin, although I've already provided you with that file. So if you've got a bank already, like I do with the master bank, what you can do is you can add my multi-samples to your bank. So you'll find them in the folder, you'll unzip them and just add all those into your bank. You can sort of do Control A, I think. Select the first one, Control A, select them all, add them in like that, and then you'll see them all added in, and then you can just send that to your Modwave. If you're using the native one, like here, what you can do is you can point the user sample banks at the folder where you've got the compiled file. So that's in the folder that I gave you. You can unzip that, and in that file you can point this to that folder, and then you'll get all those sounds. I've got a separate video on this anyway, so if you're not sure exactly what to do, follow that. So those are the collections. So we've got like 45, I think, performances, all using those original samples from the Fairlight, from that classic 80s instrument. And don't forget volume 1 as well if you like that. I've got lots more to come for the Modwave, so please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.